Everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be discussing an interesting topic. It's who will be in Donald Trump's second administration. So as we all know, he has picked his vice president a while ago, back in July, during the Republican National Convention, and that is Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. But who else will he choose, and who else has he already chosen to help carry out his policy plans? Well, he's already made a couple official announcements. So, there's Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. He was chosen today, on November 12th, 2024. He is he is a Fox News host and a former Army veteran. Um, he was a major in the U.S. Army. Uh, so Trump could have chosen a more experienced general for Secretary of Defense, but I feel like it's pretty loyalist pick. Uh, yeah, he's trying to go for more loyal members, and I feel like this is a good pick if you're focusing on that. And Secretary of State. I don't know why they haven't put Marco Rubio on here. I checked earlier today, and Marco Rubio was on here. But for right now, I don't know why they got rid of Marco Rubio. But Trump has announced that Marco Rubio, one of his top critics during the 2016 presidential elections, he challenged him in a Republican primary. Rubio lost and has been the senator of Florida ever since. And sometimes Rubio does criticize Donald Trump, but for the last couple of years, um, Rubio has been a pretty um, loyal ally to Mr. Trump, and he will be our next Secretary of State. The Florida governor, Republican Ron DeSantis, will have to appoint someone to replace Rubio in the Senate. And then a lot of these are extremely important. The rest of these, we still don't really know who. There's Secretary of the Treasury, Attorney General, Secretary of the Interior, Secretary of Agriculture, Secretary of Commerce, Labor, Health and Human Services, Transportation, Housing and Urban Development, Secretary of Energy, Secretary of Education, Secretary of Veterans Affairs, and the only other one we have so far is Secretary of Homeland Security, and that's Kristi Noem, the current governor of South Dakota. So she honestly was in the running to be Trump's vice presidential pick. But that did not happen because of some controversies where she wrote in her memoir that she killed and shot her own dog. So, kind of controversial pick, but um, I don't. This is probably not one of the person I would pick if I was Donald Trump, but yeah, very interesting pick for Homeland Security Secretary. And now there's some other officials where he has picked. The White House Chief of Staff. This was the first official that he picked, besides J.D. Vance. That is Susie Wiles, longtime campaigner for Donald Trump, a political consultant. Kevin McCarthy was actually fighting for this job, but he will not win it. Susie Wiles, she's from Florida. She managed Donald Trump's Florida campaign, and she's a pretty good pick for White House Chief of Staff. She's experienced and a solid pick. Now here's an interesting one. The administrator of the EPA, Lee Zeldin. So he actually came within striking distance from winning the governor race in New York. And that shows a lot about Zeldin. If he can get so close to winning such a blue state like New York, he's a pretty established politician. But he will cut back on regulations of the EPA. So we'll see how this goes. Director of the CIA. This is the former intelligence director of he served for Donald Trump during his first administration, John Ratcliffe. Pretty solid pick here, experienced. Now, ambassador to the United Nations. Donald Trump picked U.S. Representative Elise Stefanik from New York's from New York. So there will have to be a special election to replace her, but Republicans should carry that district fairly easily. Stefanik, uh, know how she'll do in the United Nations. During the first administration, it was obviously Nikki Haley, and obviously Trump's not going to pick her. So yeah, those are all the ones that they put on Wikipedia, but there's a couple that they didn't put on Wikipedia, so we're gonna have to go onto the Hill. Oh, there's so many ads. Oh yeah, ambassador to Israel. Donald Trump picked Mike Huckabee, the former governor of the state of Arkansas. Very interesting pick here. Huckabee is kind of um he's never really has experience diplomatically wise, and I feel like he'll be kind of extreme on Gaza. So let's just hope that nothing goes wrong there. Okay, Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, he chose Stephen Miller. He's a immigration hardliner. He's gonna he was um one of the masterminds in Trump's first administration to ban travel from several Muslim majority countries, as it says here, and also separate illegal immigrant families at the border. So so I expect this guy to be a MAGA hardliner and be really tough on immigration. Speaking of immigration, I'm pretty sure this is oh yeah, borders are Tom Homan. He was a former Immigration and Customs Enforcement Director, and Trump uh, has given him the job again. This is basically Borders are. That's a nickname. You can kind of tell what it is, and he's one of the authors. He was the author. He was one of the authors for Project 2025, and he will obviously be quite extreme on immigration, but yeah, this isn't really a surprise here. Immigration crackdown. Trump will definitely, not unsurprisingly, do that. Uh, there's a couple others right now. A National Security Advisor, Republican Congressman Mike Waltz. He is an Army veteran. First Green Beret, elected to Congress. Um, uh, this is basically, as you can tell from the name, advising national security of the country. I feel like Waltz will do quite good on this job. White House counsel Bill McGinley. Um, okay, let's see. McGinley was in Trump's first administration. Um, yeah, he's experienced for this job, and he will definitely play a big role in Trump's cabinet. Middle East envoy, Stephen Witkoff. So this is basically like a diplomat to the Middle East. So a voice for peace. That's what Trump said about him. Uh, let's see how he does his job in the future. Now, this is the last one, and I want to talk about this one. Trump made a new department, the Department of Government Efficiency. So this is basically cracking down on uh, fraud and corruption in the government, and he appointed Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy to lead this department. We knew that Musk and Ramaswamy were probably going to be in his cabinet, but I don't know how this is going to work. Are they going to co-secretariat, or like will one of them be the secretary and one of them will be like an advisor? We'll see, but this is definitely interesting. A new department. So yeah, that's very interesting. And obviously, for a lot of these, they have to pass in the Senate. I'd say most of these probably will, but definitely very interesting cabinet. And that's it for today's video. I'll update you as more announcements for cabinet officials come in, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.